So let's take the period then from 1881 to 1905 with regard to the political movements. We have, on the one hand, we have the Populists, known for their violent extremism, the killing of people such as the Grand Duke Sergi. They have groups within the populist movement that include Black Partition and the People's Will. Famous for the propaganda, these are a group of action. They are also academics. They aim themselves specifically with their propaganda at the peasants. The peasants are not altogether fooled by this, and peasant support for the populists is not great. But nevertheless, they're a growing movement, and by 1900, 1901, come turn of the new century, we see this socialist revolutionary movement as very dominant indeed, and a very organised body with their propaganda at the core. In the middle of all this, we have the likes of the Liberals. The Liberals are far more moderate. Many of these are right-wing, pro-aristocracy. They are pro-Tsarism, although they are against this autocracy, this powerful autocracy dominated by the likes of Pobedon the Estiev, supporting Alexander III and Nicholas II. They include such characters as Gudkov, Milyukov, Prince Lvov, and they indeed utilise their propaganda, they utilise their influence in society to try and reform, not overthrow. They try to reform the Tsar. This means that the TMT here, they are a very middle ground. They do get some attention. They do not play a key role in the 1905 revolution. Propaganda is at their core as well, and many are able to associate with them because they still want the Tsar, but they want him as a constitutional monarch. This means that they want a say in the running of Russia at this time. So finally we move to this third movement, a very young movement in many ways, inspired by the writings of Karl Marx. These are the Marxists, but again, these are divided very much into two individual groups. The Mensheviks, which are a sort of, an easy way to remember this, they're a sort of mentally stimulated group. So the Mensheviks are, think, mentally stimulated and are led by Martov initially. And the Bolsheviks are far more, as we say, we take the term Bolshi, they are far more active, proactive revolutionaries, and it is revolution, one way or another, that they want. Unlike certainly the Liberals, they are adamant that they want a revolution. Similar in some ways to the Populists, the SRs, etc., that they are after this revolution. They also are keen to utilise their propaganda. They're keen to push their way forward, but they're still a relatively new movement. And it's only circa 1903 onwards do they become organised enough to really push through to mainstream political opposition. They too are not scared of using physical force and play a part, along with the populists, such as the SRs, in the 1905 revolution. So it's this year 1905 that comes along. Precursor to 1905 is the war. Russia is still backwards, and yet the Tsar, to distract attention away from the people of Russia, goes to war with Japan, the Russo-Japanese War. But this is enough. Enough is enough, and from this, the political movements, one way or another, try to come together and push for a revolution, led by the likes of Father Gapon. Now we'll look at the 1905 revolution in the next piece of film. So just a brief recap. We have the Populists, we have the Liberals, and we also have the Marxists. These are political opposition growing in strength from the year 1881 through towards 1905. All have a common core in the use of propaganda. This means that Russia is not happy with Tsarism in its current state. What will the Tsar do? We'll look at that in the 1905 revolution.